James Franklin has arrived in Knoxville trying to beat the Vols again. And a group of determined Tennessee players don't plan on history being rewritten on their senior night. Tennessee has to win out to be bowl eligible. It starts tonight with the in-state SEC rivalry. We welcome you to ESPN College Football Primetime from one of the grand football palaces of the Deep South, Neyland Stadium. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Tonight, the 107th meeting between Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Commodores beat the Vols last year in Nashville, but they haven't won here at Rocky Top since '05. Let's look at the SEC East standings. You know, Mizzou still has a lot of work to do. South Carolina's going to wait and see if they'll stumble and find their way to the SEC title game. Meanwhile, Tennessee has played one of the toughest schedules anyone could dream up, and now they need these final 2 wins to avoid a losing season for Vandy. Now 3 straight years as a bowl-eligible team. As we say, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another great Saturday night in the SEC. Joe Tessitore alongside my partner, as always, Matt Millen. Tennessee playing this tough schedule. They've gone through 3 different starting quarterbacks. They have one thing they can lean on: a good group of experienced big men up front.
You said it, experience. In fact, 4 of the 5 starters on the offensive line are seniors. One, the left tackle, is just as big and physical as the rest of them, just a junior. This group right here is going to have to carry the load today. It's big, it's powerful. They're going to have to run the football. Why, Tess? Because they want to protect a young freshman who's standing right behind him. That's Joshua Dobbs. Joshua Dobbs is going to have to play a very smart game. They'll have to call a smart game for him, but he's going to have to rely on his running game.
As for Vandy, wide receiver Jordan Matthews continues to be a guy that just sets new records. Already the SEC's all-time leader in receiving yards. Tonight, he could become the all-time conference leader in receptions. How does he figure into this matchup, Matt?
Well, he's basically all the big plays that this Vanderbilt offense has. He's a guy who's physical. He's a guy who attacks the ball. In fact, Tess, this guy is as good as any receiver in college football when the ball is in the air. He believes he owns it. He's like I told you, physical, smart, but he's another thing about him is he knows how to beat defenders, and that's being the smart part in this offense.
Played a big role in Vandy's win over the Vols last year, did Matthews. Tennessee has a lot to look forward to as the program starts to turn the corner. For now, they just want to send the doors back to Nashville. Kickoff from Knoxville when we come back.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Tennessee with just a 1-5 SEC record so far this year, but many feel they're headed in the right direction with a proven winner and head coach, Butch Jones. He's with our Maria Taylor.
Thanks, Tess. Coach, you had 27 seniors recognized today. What are you most looking forward to seeing from that class tonight?
Finishing. You know, we talk about finishing in our program and not letting the emotion of senior day kick in. It's all about energy and passion and working to play your best football game.
Well, you have an opportunity to protect your home field, get one step closer to a bowl. But how would you characterize the importance of this game?
Well, every game's critical, especially when you're building the foundation of excellence, the mentality in your football program.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Butch's first year here at Rocky Top. Vols trying to avoid their 4th straight losing season. They haven't lost 4 straight since 1906. Both head coaches tonight, a lot of respect for each other. Vandy's James Franklin, one of the most likable and impressive coaches in the game today. Vandy has won 7 straight November games under James Franklin. The 4th most played rivalry game in the SEC. As Vandy won the toss, and they have chosen to receive. The The all-everything specialist Michael Pilardi will be kicking off for Tennessee. You see him on punts as well as place-kicking chores. Darius Sims and running back Wesley Tate back to return for the Commodores. And this is Sims as he darts his way just beyond the 30-yard line, and we will look at the impact players brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, when it starts with this Vanderbilt offense, you got to look at two guys. Jerron Seymour, the running back, is a guy they have to rely on. And Jordan Matthews is a guy they'll get the ball to as much as they can. For Tennessee, Pilardi, it's going to be a field position game for them. He's got to be big. And Corey Miller, defensive end, has got to get pressure on this Vanderbilt Austin Carter-Samuels.
Jordan Matthews 4 catches away from being the SEC's all-time leader in receptions. Carter-Samuels gets it out to Seymour. And Jerron Seymour is taken down by A.J. Johnson.
As Carter-Samuels is back. He had missed some time, a little banged up. He still needs to get back to his get his feel back again. And that takes a little bit of time. And so I would expect to see a little bit conservative, like you're seeing, short stuff underneath, maybe get the run game going until he gets his feet under him.
Missed the 2 big road games at A&M and the win at Florida. 2nd and 6. Seymour trying to find some room over on the right side of the line. Only about 1.5 yards as it was Johnson with his second tackle.
A.J. Johnson, high hopes for him at the start of this season. And as the years gone on, I think he's settled into what they're doing defensively. He's one of these guys who's a kind of sideline to sideline guy, very active.
And here on 3rd and 4, that's number 4, Patton Robinette, coming in at quarterback. So Robinette replaces Carter-Samuels here on 3rd and 4. And here's Seymour, who, depending on the spot here, it looks like he may be 1/2 yard short of the line to make. We will check on the mark there, as it was Sutton and Johnson coming in to get to Seymour.
You know, Tess, we've talked about A.J. Johnson, but there's a freshman out there, Cameron Sutton, you just mentioned him, number 23, and he is going to be a big timer. He's got great skills, and he's a good tackler, as you saw.
So they will bring out the chain gang to measure here. After that reception by Jerron Seymour, as you look at Sutton, 2 interceptions on the year for the true freshman. Fourth and just a couple of inches. As James Franklin is talking it over with Austin Carter-Samuels, and he sends him out there.
There was no decision. He sent the big boys out right away.
From just beyond their own 40-yard line here on the opening drive.
This is all about leverage, Joe. Low man wins right here.
16 to 22 on the season on 4th downs. Let's see if number 17 can come their way. 4th and inches. See Tennessee pointing over there as they were trying to draw him off.
Inside, Vandy moved.
False start. Offense, number 73.
Those Tennessee defensive players were quick to point it out.
Yeah, right there. We're going to see that. Yeah, that's Jake Bernstein, the left guard. You know, I'm not so sure, Tess, that what they wanted to do was just get up there and try to make them jump offside. And so the penalty, while it looks bad, I think their whole thing was to punt it anyway.
So Taylor Hudson on to punt away to Devin Young. And this is not a good punt at all.
Shankadelic
came off the side of his foot and just stretched beyond midfield. Just a 15-yard punt by Taylor Hudson.
The drop is fine. He just kicks it off the side of his foot, Tess.
If you watch Monday Night Football pregame countdown, you know what's coming out of James Franklin's mouth. Come on, man. So Tennessee takes over with prime field position, and they immediately go to Rajon Neal, the senior running back, who's driven back after just a gain of 1. And Josh Dobbs, the freshman quarterback from Alpharetta, Georgia, just the 8th true freshman to start at quarterback in Tennessee history. Yet to throw a touchdown pass in his time on the field this year. Remember, Justin Worley was the starting quarterback. Suffered a broken thumb. They turned to Nathan Peterman. He was injured as well. So Dobbs got the chance. And a gain of about 3 that time by Neal.
Okay, so if you look at the matchup here with the big offensive line versus a smaller defensive front of Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt will use some movement, and that has given this offensive line some problems, Tess, as we go to 3rd down.
37, receivers set 2 by 2 for Dobbs out of the gun. They pick up the pressure as Dobbs escapes to the near side, downfield, and it is intercepted by Kenny Ladler, his 5th of the season.
Ladler is having a phenomenal year, but it was outstanding coverage all the way around, and the pressure that made Dobbs roll to the right and make this mistake.
Scoreless here at Knoxville. Kenny Ladler with the interception moments ago.
Kenny Ladler is having himself a phenomenal year. When you watch the tape, you're really impressed with him. Here's where he is back here. He's locked up in man coverage right here. They're going to give Josh Dobbs a little bit different look. So they're going to take him, drop him underneath, go to the middle. And so Ladler is manned up all the way. Josh Dobbs, which we expected him to get pressure, rolls, and as he rolls, does not track Ladler. Ladler tracks him. The result's a pick.
See what a great season he's having. His last 6 games, 4 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions. Vanderbilt 17 takeaways now in their last 5 games. And they go with the screen this time. That is Jordan Matthews, who charges ahead past midfield for a 1st down. Matthews now just 3 catches away from becoming the SEC's all-time reception leader.
No, he's not a super fast guy. He's a guy, though, that has great hands. And what I love about him, Tess, is when the ball is in the air, he owns it. He goes after it.
So he's played with a chip on his shoulder, refers to himself as 2-star, as he had no other scholarship offers but Vanderbilt. Once again, they go quickly, this time to the near side, and Matthews able to get it to the 42-yard line, so his 2nd catch. Receptions for Jordan Matthews. It's former Vandy star Earl Bennett, who's the SEC's all-time leader, that Matthews is chasing history with tonight. 2nd and 5 now. Curtis Samuels with time downfield, And the diving effort by Jordan Cunningham, he can't come up with it as he was covered by Brian Randolph.
Randolph had good coverage on him. In fact, there was good coverage all the way around. Curtis Samuels was going to have to make a small window throw just out of the outreached hands. But good coverage all the way around.
Patton Robinette comes in again as Vanderbilt is platooning quarterbacks early here. Now Robinette came in last week in the fourth quarter for Carter Samuels and threw a 13-yard touchdown pass in the final minute that cushioned the win over Kentucky, and he's had success starting this year as well. Play clock is counting down as there's confusion on the formation.
Timeout. Vanderbilt. First timeout this half.
So Vanderbilt will use a timeout. As James Franklin was saying, now wait a minute, we need to talk that over.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering, and the ultra-intuitive M-Series Smart TV from Vizio. It's beautifully simple.
Little chill in the air for some of the best tailgating in the country down here in Knoxville on the river, close by to Neyland Stadium. Tennessee hosting their in-state rival Vanderbilt, facing a 3rd and 5. Had to use that timeout moments ago as Patton Robinette is in at quarterback. And they're going to run read option, and Robinette is going to get the first down as the ball will be down to the 35. Let's check in with Wendy Nix. What do you have for us, Wendy?
Hi, Joe Tess. We check on ASU, UCLA, and our Dr. Pepper 10 conference update. It's Arizona State who strikes first. Taylor Kelly up the middle, 3 yards later, it's a touchdown. Arizona State leading 7-0, but here come the Bruins. They haven't answered. It comes in the form of Brett Hundley. Devin Lucene, a 42-yard touchdown connection, and we're all tied up early in the first quarter. Tess?
Austin Carter Samuels back in at quarterback. First down run. And Seymour trying to find some wiggle room there and does so for a gain of 2. It was Gregory Clark with the tackle for Tennessee.
Yeah, and A.J. Johnson back inside there. But, you know, the guy inside who's got to play well today from that defensive line point of view is Daniel McCullers, number 98. And when McCullers is on, and he's not in there right now, but when he's on, he's a powerful man.
He shed 25 pounds to come down to 351. He was up towards 380 last year, Matt.
Of course, he is 6'8".
And the smoky gray uniforms are quite slimming. 2nd and 8. Here's Carter Samuels. And trying to get that yardage for the first down was Jonathan Krause, who has not played the last 2 weeks, but the second leading receiver on the team. Justin Coleman had coverage there. Now the season for the Doors, 3rd straight year that they are bowl eligible. They had that win against Georgia and the win down there at Florida, and the 4 losses come to teams that have 32 combined wins. As this drive marches on, a first down out of the gun for Carter Samuels as they set up the screen again and upended at about the 20-yard line that time. It was Jordan Matthews as he just tied the record for all-time receptions in SEC history. 1 away from breaking it now. 236 career receptions. He's the 5th most thrown to wide receiver in the BCS automatic qualifying conferences. And now Carter Samuels comes out of his quarterback position and splits out to the near side as Robinette is in the game. So 2 quarterbacks in the game for Vanderbilt, and Robinette is taken down at about the 17-yard line by Jaquez Smith. That'll leave him at 3rd and 2. And Carter Samuels and Robinette will break the huddle together. So 6 and 4 in the game together, and once again, it is the starting quarterback, Carter Samuels, who splits out as a receiver here on 3rd and 2. And Robinette will have the first down. In fact, it'll be 1st and goal as he was ridden down by Sapp at about the 8-yard line.
Well, he pumped out to Carter Samuels. Anybody who would
think
take
they're buying that?
Anybody who would take that fake. Holy smokes, I got some land I want to sell you.
Make the defense think about something once they break the huddle, but hard to believe that Carter Samuels would be much of a threat there on a wide receiver screen.
Yeah, they're just, but you know, you have to react. And so all it's doing there is just making you pause for a second, and Robinette took advantage of it.
Now here's Seymour as he spins his way down just inside the 5-yard line. He was met by A.J. Johnson and Ladero McNeil.
Down here in the red zone, things tighten, things change. All the angles change when you throw. Your pass drops change. And one of the things you have to be able to do as a linebacker inside here, down here, is you can't get too deep because you don't want to mess your angles up. You want to be coming downhill, much like this is a goal line area, basically. Too tight.
2nd and goal. Play clock down under 4 now.
Looks like man all the way.
And coming back against the grain is Jerron Seymour for the touchdown. 13th rushing touchdown of the season for Seymour. Remember, it was Kenny Ladler's interception that put them in position to have this drive. And then Carter Samuels and Robinette, both quarterbacks getting involved before Seymour cashed in. Kelly Spear, the senior kicker. And he is 40 of 40 on extra points for the year. As Jerron Seymour is just 1 rushing touchdown away from tying the school record in a single season. And Kenny Ladler knows he did well.
See, that's Dontavius Sapp. Remember right before I told you he needs to get deeper. He needs to be back about here because here's exactly the reason why. As soon as Seymour starts this way, he gets up inside and he gets caught up in the wash. There's no way to redirect. If he's deeper, he can take 2 false steps and still come back to make the play. It's a common mistake by young linebackers, and he made one.
11-play, 69-yard drive for Vanderbilt. Devin Young, junior, right here in Knoxville. Back to return Kerry Spears' kick. He just boots this deep for a touchback. Now this weekend on Countdown, former New England Patriots star Wes Welker sits down with our Patriot, Teddy Bruschi. Going to discuss his time in New England, his return to Foxborough this weekend, and the differences between playing with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. And then you get your roster set with the experts on Fantasy Football Now. So Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. on ESPN2. Fantasy Football Now, 11 a.m. on ESPN2. And Dobbs with a quick pass out to North as he's taken down by Stephen Clark. Dobbs' first pass of the night was an interception. Tennessee trying to win the remaining 2 games to be bowl eligible and avoid their 4th straight losing season. They did have that signature win, the upset over South Carolina back on October 19th, as Jason Kroom the target there. But 1-5 in the SEC East, but Matt, as tough a schedule as anybody in the nation has faced. 7 ranked opponents, including 5 in the top 10.
This is a situation they did not want to be in very often. This is 3rd and long.
3rd and long and an empty set for Dobbs, who's being chased down and was taken down that time. That was May and Weatherly combining for the sack on the freshman Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah, but Tess, that's the smart thing to do by Bob Shoop, the defensive coordinator for Vanderbilt. He knows he's got a young guy back there. He knows he's inexperienced. And so what you do is you just bring pressure. And this is just a poor job inside out. Alex Bullard needs to get from the inside out, and they beat him to the edge.
So Michael Pilardi on to punt. Trent Pruitt back at the 40 for Vanderbilt. And takes a good bounce for the lefty punter. Walker May and Stephen Weatherly shutting down that Tennessee offense early. The coaching staff prior to James Franklin's at Vanderbilt had a 3-32 November record. Vandy's 8-2 under Franklin, and they've won 7 straight November games under James Franklin. The time of the year when you play big games. And already a touchdown lead here on the road at Tennessee for Vandy. Play action. Here's Carter Samuels taking a shot downfield, and that is intercepted. So a mistake by Carter Samuels as Brian Randolph with blockers in front, and a good return by Randolph all the way down to the 24-yard line.
James Franklin wasn't too happy as there's a flag down on the field. But on the other side, they're ecstatic because they know they need help, and they've got to get the help from their defense. You can see it's just a cover 2 on top. Safety sitting over high. Carter Samuels, just a poor throw.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 67. It's first down.
Why would you throw that?
Yeah, he said you just threw it up.
Wesley Johnson, the left tackle, was who the penalty flag was on for Vanderbilt. So that'll bring the ball all the way to the 12-yard line. A 41-yard interception return by Brian Randolph, his 4th interception of the year. Now this offense gets teed up at the 12. And Neal takes it to the 11.
They are getting no movement out of that experienced offensive line. The Vanderbilt defensive front is handling that offensive line. Pretty easy, actually, Tess. Jarrett Morris, number 97 in there.
Kyle Westman at that left defensive end. 2nd and 9. Here's Dobbs to pass. And out of the backfield, unable to shake free that time was Rajon Neal. Was Andre Howe coming up and making the tackle on the running back.
Now, if you listen, Tess, you hear a couple of slight little bit of booage out there. What they really want to see is throw something down the field. Vanderbilt will give that underneath stuff up all day, especially here. Now you're 3rd and 12.
Here's Dobbs on 3rd and 12. They set up the screen to Neal. Blockers in front, but he couldn't get past Howe again as he came underneath and made the tackle.
Nice read by Andre Howell, 23. And so it's clear right now that Tennessee's offensive coordinator, Mike Majakin, does not trust his young freshman. He's not going to let him throw the ball down the field. So right now, Tess, they are throwing in a really tight area.
Here's one of the most reliable guys on the team, Michael Pilardi, the senior place kicker, who's 8 for 8 inside of 40 yards this year. This from 33.
That was awful.
That never had a chance. The lefty put it to the left. Straight as could be, but it was targeted off center.
So
the
wasted
41-yard
right
interception return, Matt, goes without a score on the back end. I don't know if somebody tipped this or it was just a poor effort from Pilardi.
That was just awful.
Missed opportunity for Butch and company.
Des?
Thanks, Wendy. And with Manziel stumbling today against LSU, that Baylor game important with not just the BCS race, but how about Bryce Petty and a Heisman opportunity to move up the ranks there. So after the missed field goal, Vanderbilt takes over, and they do so with Brian Kimbrough running the ball as he goes for 2.5 yards. Baylor and Oklahoma State on ABC. Still Pac-12 action to come on ESPN2 as many are looking at the Pac-12 scores today and shaking their head thinking, what happened to Oregon?
I'll tell you what happened to Oregon. Rich Rodriguez's offense. BJ Denker had a great game. They just ran the football all over him.
Once again, the two quarterback system on the field together. Robinette and Curtis Samuels. And Robinette quickly gets it out to Jordan Matthews, who with that catch becomes the SEC's all-time leader in receptions. So save the ball and put it away and tell the grandkids someday. .237 career receptions now for Jordan Matthews. He was the last player in their recruiting class the year he signed on. Introduces himself, as we told you, as two-star, and has gone on to be #1 in SEC history. And Vanderbilt will use their second timeout. And you think of all the superlatives to be attached to Jordan Matthews. Look at that column in terms of where he ranks in Vanderbilt history. And now the all-time leader in SEC history.
Well, Tess, they have great confidence in Jordan Matthews, and they'll go to him all the time. And you saw it right out of the gun. They just threw him. They'll throw a lot of short stuff underneath, and they'll get those defenders backed off. And then Matthews will start making throws, catches rather, down the field. But if you're going to back off, they're going to throw it back underneath. He's been effective all season long, whether it's the short underneath stuff, things down the field. He's just fun to watch.
You know, John Donovan, their offensive coordinator, we visited Vanderbilt just before the season started. He made the comment to us that Jordan Matthews practices harder than anybody, that he brings every ball he catches in practice all the way to the end zone and then runs it back.
Yeah, the great ones have great work habits.
And he's a second cousin of Jerry Rice. His mother's Jerry Rice's cousin.
And when
Talk about one of the great ones.
Exactly. And it's a big third down here.
3rd and 4. Robinette once again at quarterback. He's going to go downfield and trying to come up with it. A flag comes down with Jonathan Kraus as he was tangled up, it appeared, with LaDarrell McNeil.
Pass interference, defense number 33. The penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot and includes an automatic first down.
Yeah, he grabbed his arm. It looks like he affected him with his arm. Either that or he was kind of out of control. Let's see. Yeah, he pulled his arm.
There's McNeil with the coverage there on Kraus. See the penalty marks, fewest in the SEC. As that's a loose ball that time on the exchange with Kimbrough, and Tennessee's A.J. Johnson comes up with it.
There's a flag. He spun the ball. That's going to be a penalty against him.
It'll be post-possession, but the flag comes in at the end there. And only the third fumble loss this season for Vanderbilt. You saw the exchange there with Carter Samuels and Kimbrough and never put it away.
Well, Jaquez Smith.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 45. The penalty is 15 yards. It's first down.
So there is the unsportsmanlike conduct. Tennessee's ball back at their 47-yard line.
Jaquez Smith made a great inside move and hit the guard in the backfield, which caused him to just hesitate just a tad. Kimbrough, when he hesitated, never got the handle of the ball. The results a fumble.
That was Marlon Lane who was torn down that time.
Yeah, see, here's the fumble. I mean, the penalty, rather, and that's just not using your head at all. Why would you do something like that? You're going to hurt your team again.
Second and 10. Keep it on the ground with
block.
Pig Howard. This is the playmaker for Tennessee as he tried to keep his balance on the near sideline. It's a first down for the Vols. A gain of 14 by Alton Pig Howard.
Yeah, but Marlon Lane, number 15, great block. Without the block, Pig Howard's nothing but a little pig.
Marlon Lane, the running back, with Dobbs now here on first down. He'll get it out of the backfield. And a good block in front as he had Jawan James, who makes his 48th career start tonight, getting out in front of Marlon Lane.
And a big man. And they're, again, conservative play call. At one point, they're going to have to take the wraps off. That's a nice job by Jawan James getting out there. They're going to have to take the wraps off this play calling. You can't call a game scared.
Trying to get Joshua Dobbs comfortable here. Second and 1. As Lane buries his head in there for a gain of 3 and a first down, tackled by Chase Garnham. Coming up on the final half minute here of the first quarter, as Butch Jones would love to get something on the board here. He came up short on the field goal attempt after that 41-yard interception return, and now an opportunity after the fumble. Rajon Neal straight up the middle, and he lost the ball, and it looks as if Jacob Carter has fallen on it for Tennessee. It was Kenny Ladler who came in. He leads the SEC in forced fumbles, and he came in and forced one there.
There's a shock. Ladler in the middle of a turnover again.
Had the interception earlier tonight, and he's always punching at that football, looking to strip it away.
Now watch the great awareness by Ladler. Right here. Boom, right on top of the ball. That's great presence and a nice job of following through on it.
And at the end of that play, Andre Howell, a fine starting quarterback for Vanderbilt, was injured. And he's a key part of what they do defensively. He had 2 interceptions in the win over Tennessee last year.
He's been one of their mainstays back there, Tess. He's an outstanding tackler. He's got the whole medical staff out there, including Coach Franklin.
So he's able to walk off with the medical staff. As it'll be first down at the 16-yard line with 10 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
Here's Howell right here coming in on Neal. He's working off a block. Now he dives into the middle of it. And who the heck knows what goes wrong?
I think the injury may have happened going for the fumbled ball. Joshua Dobbs now. Nice cut by the freshman quarterback. And that's good momentum to finish off the first quarter. Here comes Tennessee. It'll be 1st and goal when we return to Knoxville. Joe Matt Maria with you on College Football Primetime as you're watching the SEC
on ESPN.
Millen, Skills.
Thank you, my friend.
Wow. First quarter summary. Vandy, a little history with Jordan Matthews, all-time leader in the SEC now. They got the touchdown from Seymour. And now Tennessee finding momentum here as they had the fumble recovery. And the freshman quarterback, Joshua Dobbs, has put them in position of 1st and goal. Rajon Neal, can he get there? Yes! Touchdown, Tennessee! th rushing touchdown on the season for Rajon Neal. Kimbrough fumbled on that exchange moments ago, and Tennessee took advantage. And Pilardi makes it a tie game.
All they're trying to do, see, they start Neal to the left side, they make you commit, and then it's his vision that takes him to the top side, because a nice job by the right tackle, Juwan James, along with Zach Fulton, and it's in the end zone for Neal.
107th meeting between these in-state SEC teams. 4th most played series in the SEC. Tennessee leads the series. But last year, Vandy got the best of them, 41-18 in Nashville. Vandy has won here in Knoxville since '05. Tennessee has won 28 of the last 30. And this one would be mighty sweet as they're trying to win out these final 2 and become bowl eligible and start the turnaround here at Rocky Top.
Tess, one thing showed up in that last series that I think Tennessee needs to do, and that's allow Joshua Dobbs to use his feet. He showed some speed and quickness, and I think that's something that could factor in.
I agree. Good-looking young athlete. There's Darius Sims, the freshman return man for Vanderbilt. As this will be Sims. Taken down at about the 27. Let's check in with Wendy.
Tess, thank you. We check on Arizona State and UCLA, a 14-10 ball game here. Then Brett Hundley picked off by Carl Bradford. It's a pick 6. It goes back, and now the lead 21-10 in the second quarter. Jonathan Franklin back for Missouri. Henry Josio McCary here, 7-0 Mizzou over Ole Miss.
50 team, number 11. Phillies. Correction. Correction. Unfortunately, conduct, number 11.
Harding Harper as Ken Williamson, the referee, cleans things up and will mark back Vanderbilt. Wendy mentioning the UCLA-Arizona State game. Miles Jack already with 7 carries tonight for UCLA. One of the big talkabouts in college football. There was a feature piece this morning on College Game Day about the freshman linebacker turned offensive star. He already has 7 carries for 64 yards for UCLA.
Yeah, and keep in mind, and Tess, you and I had him the first time he did it. And he was an accomplished running back coming out of high school, highly recruited running back. He wants to play linebacker, but not when you're running like that.
So talented. Curtis Samuels is under center with Wesley Tate as the lone back as they go 12 personnel, single back, 2 tight ends here on first down. Was looking for the slant, now has to try to extend the play and just goes ahead for 2 yards, tackled by Corey Miller.
Let's go back and look at that personal foul. You're going to see it right here. See exactly what he ends up doing. He takes him and he just drives him right into the sideline. Harding Harper, and that's not very smart. James Franklin's not real pleased with it.
You see Maria right there in the background. See Maria Taylor just looking over her shoulder.
She should have put her fingers in her ears after that one.
Listening into every word between coach and player. Here's Tate again. That's a good hard run by Wesley Tate. Maria, what do you have for us?
Well, coach was not very excited with Harper. The first thing he asked is, what are you doing? And then he said, it doesn't matter. Get back there. Don't do it again.
Eavesdropping Taylor.
I think she left a couple of words out in there. Doing a little lip reading up there.
Salty. First down run for Wesley Tate, younger brother of Golden Tate.
He looked like he was kind of in a panic right there.
And as Daniel McCullers was able to get to Carter Samuels, and the flag came in right at the end.
Must be either a broken play or something wasn't right. He didn't look very comfortable at all in that one.
Holding, offense, number 53. The penalty is 10 yards from the final foul. Repeat first down.
It's Jake Bernstein again, the left guard.
Yeah, watch Austin Carter-Samuels. He just looked like either the play broke down, he wasn't sure at all what he was looking at. I'm going to go with it broke down. Something happened that wasn't supposed to in that particular play.
So first down and 19 after the penalty. As Tate moves it ahead.
You know, Wesley Tate, you and I had them at the start of the season. Wesley Tate is a big, good-looking runner. And he has plenty of speed and lots of potential. Never really quite lived up to what that potential is, because he's got some big-time skills.
He's the biggest of the 3 running backs that we use. He goes 6'1", 224. Seymour's 5'7", 200. Kimbrough's 5'8", 185. And once again, they send in Patrick Robinette at quarterback here on second down and long. And a designed quarterback run as he patiently waited for the blocks to get him out to the 35. Patton Robinette, 6'4" redshirt freshman. 2 times this year he has started in place of Carter Samuels, who was banged up with a knee injury. Patton started in the loss on the road at Texas A&M, started the win at Florida.
He has run skills, but he can't throw. What he does is he puts your second level in conflict because of his running ability.
That time they found him. Corey Miller was the first to track him down.
Yeah, that time they put him in conflict. Make a choice. You're going to go down hard or you're going to go down soft. Make a choice. Nicely done by Corey Miller.
Send out the punt team. Taylor Hudson struggled earlier tonight with just a 15-yard punt. This time it's a low line drive, and Devrin Young will field it off the bounce and somehow kept his balance out to the 25-yard line. Well, she won 8 national titles, more than 1,000 basketball games. Coming up after the break, we revisit a special moment yesterday here in Knoxville for an all-time legendary sports figure.
I want everybody to know how much I appreciate what's happened here today, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. And I love you all. Thank you.
That was yesterday, the dedication of the Pat Summitt Plaza here in Knoxville, along with the unveiling of the statue and the likeness of the legendary Tennessee coach. The ceremony took place across the street from nearby Thompson Bowling Arena. Lady Vols head coach Holly Warwick was there. Tamika Catchings, former star, and Phil Fulmer and current head coach Butch Jones in attendance. That's a beautiful display they've done there for one of the all-time great coaches in sports history. There's Ray-John Neal for 2 yards. Of course, Pat Summitt, I don't know that numbers like this will never be achieved again. 8 national titles and 31 NCAA tournament appearances. 7 times the NCAA Coach of the Year. 1,098 wins. 2nd and 8. Dobbs showing off that arm, and that ball is intercepted as he tried to gun it in. And Paris Head, the redshirt freshman who's in for the injured Andre Howe, comes up big.
Dobbs just put that one a little behind. You're going to see him up top here. See the safety right on the top of your screen right here. Oh, it's a corner on the top. Yep. And what he's doing, all he did is just waiting for him to break. So he has eyes back on the quarterback and the receiver. And as soon as he sees the throwing motion, he's back inside. But the ball was thrown behind. Not a good throw.
2nd interception of the night thrown by Joshua Dobbs. Wesley Tate coming around the right side as he was met by A.J. Johnson. But great field position for Vanderbilt after the turnover. Coach Jones with those arms folded and a bite down in frustration a bit, and is trying to ask a little something of the freshman quarterback. But now 2 interceptions thrown here in this first half. Four completions for only 5 yards as they've been going with a quick game. Screens and everything close to the line, and then they went downfield and they paid the price. And here is a guy that often makes defenses pay the price, Jordan Matthews. 5th reception of the night for Matthews, who made history earlier as the SEC's all-time catch leader. It's Andrew Jelks, the right tackle, slow to get up.
Jelks came a long way to get out there to get himself a block. They had the safety sitting high, the corner inside, and Jelks came from inside out on that throw to allow Matthews to get back inside.
We will take a break as they tend to Jelks. Tied up here at Rocky Top. Pre-game at Neyland Stadium includes Sterl the Pearl. That is DJ Sterling Henton, a former Vols quarterback who wore number 16 back in the day prior to Mr. Manning. That number, of course, retired back in 2005. He must be a Sterl the Pearl fan. So after the injury to Jelks, first down for Vandy at the 29-yard line.
Gonna run at it.
And that's exactly what they do with Wesley Tate. Monday Night Football will be San Francisco and Washington. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. Then kickoff at 8:25. All right, you're spending your time down there at NFL Films. I see you there in the middle of the week. What do you got with that matchup, Millen?
Well, they're 2 young guys who are struggling right now, but it's not just on them. They've got to get them. Both those guys got to get themselves together with their offenses. The 49ers got to continue to run the football until they can get healthy on the outside.
Here's Patton Robinette trying to continue to run the football when he comes in, but A.J. Johnson and Jaquez Smith have been meeting him.
A.J. Johnson, we've called his name quite a bit here tonight. Been very active here in this first half. Done a nice job, good job of reading. And they come with a blitz. And they brought the safety down inside, and A.J. Johnson took the inside A gap. Sets up this 3rd and 7.
Vanderbilt has been platooning quarterbacks all night long, from Patton Robinette to Austin Carter Samuels. Facing a 3rd and 7, play clock down to 2. And they were forced to use their last timeout of the half with still 7:48 remaining. Vanderbilt
Timeout.
exhausting their timeouts. We will take a break. Vandy facing 3rd and 7 when we return to Neyland Stadium. Third down and 7 for Vanderbilt as it gets loud here at Neyland Stadium, and their defense looking to tighten up.
Right there in the slot, that's Krause. He's got some speed. The safety's on him. A light box also.
Carter Samuels on 3rd and 7. Over the middle and complete for a first down. The ball came loose at the end there at the 2-yard line. Jordan Matthews coughed it up.
They're saying he's down. The line judge pointed to the ground right away.
And Matthews is pointing, saying I was down as well. And that's where they're going to place it down, just inside the 5-yard line.
Oh, I don't know about that one. That ball was out before his knee came down.
Randolph and McNeil coming in with the hit there.
Yeah, that's a fumble. His knee was not down.
And they're going to review this.
The previous play is under further review. There's no timeout charge of Tennessee.
There's the first hit. There's the second. That's when the ball's out.
It was Randolph who came in there.
Yeah, see, his knee's not down. Here's the knee right here, and there's the ball. And that is a fumble. Nice job by our truck downstairs. Good job, Axe. Good camera work.
Wilbur Hackett upstairs for the SEC officiating crew looking through this. And Vandy's been so good with fumbles this year, but if this is overturned, it'll be their second tonight. They only had 2 fumbles lost in their first 10 games.
I think right now, Tess, it's going to be a fumble. They're just probably checking where the spot of the ball is.
The ball was out, Cards and Warner being down. Therefore, it's Tennessee ball. First down at the 1-yard line.
And it is Tennessee ball. And they will spot it at the 1-yard line. There's a disappointment on the face of Jordan Matthews and head coach James Franklin as a golden opportunity is given up there.
They only had 2 fumbles coming into tonight. They've matched that already.
Their most reliable offensive playmaker, Jordan Matthews. Marlon Lane is the lone back
He's
with
checking at the line.
Josh
Tess.
Dobbs, the freshman quarterback, checking at the line at the 1-yard line.
Oh, he jumped. He has him.
That was a good run by Marlon Lane as a flag comes in there. We will check on that.
That's a defensive end. He jumped. He had him. I saw the lineman throw it right away. Head lineman throw it right away. Right there.
Walker May on the right side of the line appeared to move.
Offside. Defense number 90. Penalty is declined. Second down.
right there. He wasn't able to get back in time.
There's a little breathing room for Butch Jones's offense. And they will keep it on the ground with Marlon Lane. And a first down for Tennessee out near the 15-yard line. So Butch Jones racing in there with the play clock coming down. And they will use a timeout. 6:47 remaining in the first half.
After enforcement of the penalty, the play clock was not set correctly. We'll reset the play clock at 25 seconds.
So
the timeout will not be charged against them. Vanderbilt has used all of their timeouts. Good hole right up the middle as Marlon Lane went charging in just beyond the 30-yard line.
And they're playing both safeties back, so they're going to run right at it. You can see him sitting back here. Both those guys are back, so you have a light box in terms of numbers. When I say a light box, that means you don't have as many numbers in there as you'd like.
Here's Lane again as he found some running room out past the 37. He's worked well on this drive that started at the 1-yard line after the fumble recovery.
This is smart right here. Give a little bit of advantage back to the young quarterback. We'll just keep on running at that.
Oh, and the freshman Dobbs didn't see the snap, and he was fortunate to be in position to just jump on it as he was looking off to the side out of the gun when Stone snapped it right into his face mask. Now 3rd and 6 as he resets himself. And Neal was met after a gain of maybe 1.5 yards that time as Darian Hearing came in with Carl Butler.
That's a nice call right there by Bob Shoop, Vanderbilt's defensive coordinator. And he showed them one thing, and then he brought a little pressure, a run blitz, which worked out perfectly for them, sets up this 4th down.
Michael Pilardi on to punt away. The lefty who, as we told you, has all the special duties, place kicking, punting, and kickoff for the Vols. He put that on the ground for a moment before he punted away to Trent Pruitt, who fields it. Had a little trouble fielding that one before letting it go, but Tennessee dodged a bullet down at the goal line. Vandy's ball when we return, all tied up here. Welcome back to Knoxville for ESPN College Football Primetime as you're watching the SEC.
On ESPN.
Millen, she's taking over the show, Millen. Maria Taylor is taking over the show, I tell you. What do you got down there in the field, Taylor?
I think I sound just like you, Tess. You know, guys, I was watching Austin Carter-Samuel and really trying to pick up Jordan Matthews, his wide receiver, after the fumble. He was very visibly frustrated, but Carter-Samuels walked up to him and said, listen, we're coming right back to you. Also, offensive line coach Herb Hand is telling his line that they're doing a great job protecting the quarterback. They have to get back in it, score one more touchdown before the end of the half.
They got no problem going right back to Jordan Matthews. They've been doing that for 4 years, more than any receiver in SEC history. He's caught the ball. And Wesley Tate cannot turn the corner this time as Daniel Hood pursued and came up with the tackle. Jordan Matthews fumbled that ball inside the 5-yard line on the last possession. He has 6 catches on the night for 58 yards. In doing so, he became the SEC's all-time leader in receptions.
Well, they've ridden that horse for a few years, and they'll continue to ride him all the way through this season. That fumble won't take anything away from him.
Last year he was sensational against Tennessee. Had a 71-yard fourth-quarter touchdown catch. Had a 47-yard rushing touchdown in the victory. 2nd and 9 now. Curtis Samuels to pass. Plenty of time, goes underneath, and is able to get it complete to Tate. It'll be 3rd down. And here comes Patton Robinette again. This time, Curtis Samuels tags out. All night long they've been doing this. Curtis Samuels 21 snaps, Robinette 12 snaps, and we've seen many plays where they've been on the field together at the same time with Curtis Samuels split out wide.
Long play call off his wrist. That means a pass.
Here's Tate, and he grinds his way for another 1st down for Vanderbilt.
And that was all Wesley Tate. That was good power running through arm tackles. Blocked on the outside, but the corners just tried to trip him up, and that's not going to be enough to take Tate down.
Now Austin Curtis Samuels comes back in, the senior quarterback from San Jose, California. Tate again broke the initial would-be tackle and gets it to the 43-yard line. Want to remind you that the most storied conference in college sports will have a new network. Tradition with a new home. It's the SEC Network, launching in August 2014. You can go to getsecnetwork.com for more information. Going to be filling up your Saturday afternoons with live college football, original programming, and all the hot topics all year round, covering all the sports in the SEC, but a nonstop emphasis on SEC football.
You know, come to think of it, Tess, I think Maria said that better than you do.
Thanks, Millen.
At the end of the play clock is not set correctly. Please hit it at 25 seconds.
It's the 2nd time that's happened tonight. And Ken Williamson, who's a very fine referee heading up this crew, has been on top of it. 2nd and 6 now for Vandy. Curtis Samuels going to try to tuck and run, but he was wrapped up by Daniel Hood.
That's a nice job by Hood. That's the 2nd time he's had a nice play here in this series. He read that thing right away. You can see him right here. He gets a feel for it right away, right here. Now he's going to redirect and come back. That's a nice job of getting back to the ball. Sets up this 3rd down.
3rd down and 4. Matthews, top of your screen, one of their favorite targets. And on the slant that time, there was contact as he was looking for the freshman Jordan Cunningham.
That's a good call, Tess.
Justin Coleman came in a bit early on the freshman receiver.
Yeah, he had him. He had him with his body.
Pass interference, defense number 27. Penalty replaced the ball at the spot of the foul and includes an automatic 1st down.
Yeah, you're going to see it. Oh, they're all the way down here. Here they are, right down below. You're going to see Coleman drive the ball. His eyes are back inside. He drives it. See, hits him before he gets there. That's a good call.
Remember, Vanderbilt is without any timeouts here as we have 1:08 remaining in the half. They go with the screen, but chased down by A.J. Johnson. He has had a fine first half. Wendy, what do you have in studio?
Tess coming up with the Outback Steakhouse halftime report. Florida hits a new low. It's deja vu for Johnny Manziel in a tight race in the Pac-12. In case you didn't see, I'll be joined by Robert Smith and Todd McShay at the half.
Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. 2nd and 13. As Tate catches it underneath, and it'll be 3rd down. Remember, no timeouts for Vanderbilt. They had to use them earlier in the half.
He's got to get a first to stop the clock and then clock it.
Third and 7. He's pursued. Clock counting down. That ball was almost intercepted. That was Justin Coleman making a break on the ball. He's the one that had the PI moments ago. But he charged on this one, so it'll be 4th down.
He's trying to get to 82 Ken Quintera. And Coleman sees it right away, undercuts it. Should have been a pick. Yeah, he's going to want that one back. They've had good pressure here on Carter Samuels. And now on 4th down, they'll set the punt, and that should kill the half with 12 seconds. See if they don't try to get after this one. There's nobody back.
See, this is a 30-second timeout.
Vandy got themselves into a little bit of a situation trying to manage the clock there without the timeouts. What'd you make of this first half so far? I think Tennessee tried to manage, obviously, their freshman quarterback. They had some opportunities, and turnovers helped a bit.
That's the biggest part of it. And the second half, yeah, I mentioned it earlier, you can't call a game scared of what could happen. You have to see what the kid can do, and then let him go with it. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to start pushing the ball down the field. And I also, Tess, I'd allow his feet to do some more work. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, Dobbs is a good athlete. And we saw that a few times in the first half there, but obviously trying to limit his exposure and not harm them. 7-7, 12 seconds remaining. Colby Cook was in the game to punt away for a moment, but now they go back to Taylor Hudson. And this will bounce harmlessly into the end zone.
They'll take a knee and move on.
Josh Dobbs, the freshman quarterback, just 5 yards passing in that first half. Vanderbilt went with a platooning system of Carter Samuels and Robinette. Tennessee only had 86 total yards of offense in that first half. Turnovers played a role. Vanderbilt was denied down inside the 5-yard line when Jordan Matthews turned it over. Let's go down to the field to Maria.
Coach, what fueled your decision to go with a 2-quarterback system in the first half?
Just want to keep mobility as a factor, and Patton's done a great job of that.
As you go into the locker room tied up at 7, what do you feel like is going to be the difference maker coming in the second half?
Well, we just got to stop turning the ball over. Our defense has played extremely well. You can't turn the ball over like that, but it's 7-all, so come out and play well in the second half.
Is there an injury update on Andre Howell?
We don't make injury updates, but thanks for asking.
Thanks, Coach.
Oh, good stuff from James Franklin. They've won 7 straight November games as Vandy. We'll see if they can get this done. Let's join the giggle crowd. Wendy Nix, Todd McShay, and Robert Smith back in the studio for the Outback Steakhouse halftime report. Here comes comedy. Take it away. Millen with you as we're tied up here at 7-7. Tennessee trying to win out these last 2 games, to not have a losing record, to become bowl eligible. Vanderbilt's had a lot of success in November under James Franklin. That was a choppy first half filled with turnovers.
Yeah, it really was. And so what I think what happened is there was a little momentum going for Tennessee Vols in the second quarter. Josh Dobbs threw these picks, had a couple of turnovers which weren't good. And then, not to be outdone, they just turned around and did their own, did Vanderbilt with a fumble. And so it's been a sloppy first half test, but I do believe that the Tennessee Vols picked up a little bit of momentum here in that second quarter.
Well, that one turnover was critical when Jordan Matthews fumbled inside the 5. Tennessee recovered at the 1. avoided giving up any points there. They're trying to manage their freshman quarterback, Joshua Dobbs. Had some success running the ball, but only 84 yards of total offense for the Vols in that first half, as they will receive here to start the second half. As Devrin Young will be the deep man to return Kerry Spears' kick. And this is Young from the goal line. And Devrin Young with a decent return out to the 30-yard line. Maria Taylor, what's up?
Manage the ball game is what Butch Jones said he told Josh Dobbs at the half. He said if you don't have it, you can still throw the ball away. We don't really need those turnovers. Now, one of their deep threats will be gone. Marquez North, the wide receiver, will not be able to return today. He was injured in the first half. He said he also likes the resiliency that his defense has shown, but he's still looking for some trick plays for Vanderbilt, so he says they've got to keep their head in the game.
Yeah, they've had their eye on that all week watching film. We sat with the Tennessee coaches all day yesterday. They noted, hey, 37 trick plays by Vanderbilt over the course of the last 3 years. Yet to see one, as we're back to seeing Rajon Neal in the backfield with Josh Dobbs. And Dobbs will pass on his first play of the second half as he quickly gets it to Pig Howard, who has yet to play a big role in this game, tackled by May.
Vanderbilt is sitting in a soft zone, cover 2. Their safety's back deep, and Tennessee spreads them out, which gives you a lot of area to be able to run to the inside. The numbers are, again, light in the box.
And here is Dobbs, and that's what you think they should see more of here in the second half.
Absolutely. I think they're underutilizing Josh Dobbs' feet. I'd like to also see him get to an edge, because I think his speed shows up and his suddenness.
Here's 3rd and 3 as Dobbs checks over on the sideline and now checks with the offensive line. And it will be a first down for Tennessee by way of Rajon Neal, tackled by Garnham.
One thing about Josh Dobbs, he is an extremely bright young player. Aeronautical engineer. He's a guy who you tell him one time and he's got it. So he's rare. He's good conceptually, and he's a good linear thinker as well.
As Jones made the comment, you only have to tell him something once. As he hands off to Neal once again. Good run by Rajon Neal. And to that point on Josh Dobbs, then you worry about how he's received by the kids. And Butch Jones says he has more street cred than any smart player I've been around, especially in a locker room. Kids just gravitate towards him. Second and 6. Goes underneath to midfield that time, as he gets it complete to Brendan Downs. The 3rd down, about 2 yards here.
They were comfortable with 3rd and anything under 4. They thought that played to their favor. Should have been a flag.
They're going to launch it downfield. Offensive line didn't move as they took a shot downfield. They get the flag both in the offensive backfield and then down at the 14-yard line as Walker May came in at the end there. They're going to need to clean this entire play up.
Yes, although the offensive line didn't move, the defender was in the neutral zone, it looked like, Walker May, and he snapped the ball.
Well, he also took a shot at Josh Dobbs. Watch the end of this play, Matt.
Yeah, watch. See, he jumped right there. And it looked like his helmet was still in. And then, they planted him.
That was a brutal hit.
2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 90. That penalty will be declined. Pass interference, defense number 5. Penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot and includes an automatic first down.
Well, here's the roughing the passer.
Oh!
That was a nice hit.
First of all, that's the crown of the helmet, and it's to the head area.
Well, he hit him in the chest, Tess.
Are you sure of that,
Yeah.
man?
I mean, as a defender, I would say yes.
Well, I mean, all joking aside, that was a brutal hit.
It was a good hit
on Dobbs.
But he hit him in the chest.
Pig Howard, I want to see that one more time. And the ball may have come loose here at the end of this play. Watch this.
He may have caught part of his face mask.
That's the initial contact I saw, was the face mask being crashed into and then the helmet going back. By the way, the ball is still with Tennessee here at the 34-yard line. But
so lost in all that, they can't lose the momentum. Oh, so he already had him down when this thing keeps on going. That's why they brought it back.
2nd and 9 now. Here's Dobbs looking to extend the play, gets rid of it, and gets it over to the side, but incomplete as he threw it low, intended for downs.
Yeah, see, when he's starting to move like that, Tess, he's not setting his feet. And you can throw on the run, that's fine. But he's rushing himself. He needs to calm himself down. Now you have 3rd and long. This is exactly where Vanderbilt wanted to get him.
3rd and long, 0 for 2 tonight. As Dobbs faces a 3rd and 9. With a little bit of pressure on him as he tries to spin free, and he finds a lane and a 1st down.
Those are the feet I'm talking about. If you listen really close, you could hear, because that was a Curley spin if I ever saw one. Mo Larry Curley right here. You're going to watch this. You get the pressure, and there's the spin. And he's right out the back. I would use those feet to my advantage.
He goes back to the ground, and he is whipped down that time by Chase Garnham. Garnham didn't get fooled there. Garnham missed a good portion of the season. Was hurt the first game of the year. Had a leg injury. He's only been back for the past couple weeks. Second and 11 run this time by Neal. He's met by 3 or 4 defenders, including Herring and Ladder. Herring and Ladler coming in there against Neal.
Well, Ladler is good. He's a really good player. We talked about him earlier. He's a playmaker. He's had, the forced fumbles and interceptions, but he's an active guy. He's always down around the ball. He's kind of like a ball magnet. He knows how to get there.
3rd down and 8. Dobbs only has 8 yards passing tonight. Facing a 3rd and 8 here. That was thrown low into the inside to the 15-yard line. It'll be 4th down. That was Jason Kroom.
Let's see if Pilardi can do something better than that one. Let's see if this is a catch. Yes, it is.
See him get his hands underneath. Surround the ball. So here comes Michael Pilardi, the lefty kicker, who missed earlier tonight from 33. And that's off the post, but yet in from 32. Pilardi will take it any way he can get it after that adventure he had in the first half.
Tess, we put the pressure on him. We said he was going to be an impact player, and he choked the first time, and this time right inside the post.
Ricochet and in. And Tennessee has a 10-7 lead.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Tennessee with a 10-7 lead here in the second half against Vanderbilt. Head coach Butch Jones says, listen, we've gotten better, but what hides the improvement is the schedule. 5 top 10 programs they've played, 7 ranked programs they've played this year. Your non-conference game early in the season is at number 2 Oregon at the time. And it's a tough slate they've gone to arrive at 4-6 to this point. But they could grab 2 wins here to finish up, avoid a losing season, and become bowl eligible. Darius Sims on the return from inside the 5. And Darius Sims with a blocker in front. Darius Sims with a man to beat. And what a great return for Vandy, as it was Justin Coleman who finally tracked him down.
That's a great job by Justin Coleman because he took the right angle. Sims is on his way. He picks it up, and you can see once he finds his crack, now Coleman, he's tracking him. And 71 yards later, he makes the tackle. It's a good job by Coleman, just saved the touchdown.
So Vanderbilt primed to respond. Jordan Matthews gets that first initial block and then lowers his shoulder to the 20-yard line as his big night continues. If he could just forget that fumble inside the 5, a history-making night for Jordan Matthews.
They're pretty good at that. They do a nice job of blocking for him in that short pass. That time Jordan Cunningham had himself a nice block on the outside, and he just takes it back up inside.
Second and 4. Wesley Tate trying to get to the outside. Ran to that short side of the field. Couldn't get around the edge of Sapp.
That's well defended there on the edge. It doesn't seem like they have a little bit more confidence with Carter Samuels as you watch Robinette come in this 3rd and down. You have to account for Robinette's feet.
Patton Robinette has come in. He's passed 3 for 3. He's run the ball 4 times for 17 yards. Let's see what he does on 3rd and 4. Trying to run for it here. It'll be a yard short. Ball came out at the end there as they're fighting for it. And you see a Tennessee player with it. But it appears they're going to mark Robinette down. About a yard shy of the line to make. Well, that ball came out there, Matt. And that was Jerron Toney who recovered the ball for Tennessee.
I think his knee was probably down. Let's look. He's fine there. Hands down. Knees down. Left knee was down.
I don't know about this, Matt. I think they're going to review this. It's mighty close. It depends on the video evidence, but watch the ball in his hand.
Ball is. That's hard to see on that one. Here, this will be a better shot.
I think that comes out. I think that's a fumble.
Yep, that's a fumble.
Remember, the call on the field is that he was down, but it appears from that look, as you see Wilbur Hackett and Ben Oldham up in the replay booth, that this is going to be a fumble.
This is the definitive view. You can see right there a nice job of stripping the ball. He's out. Knees are not down. See this? And the ball is loose, and that's a fumble. Another great job by our camera crew.
And Devon Swafford, who forced that fumble there.
Oh, Swafford's beautiful in this one. Look at it. Great awareness, and his hand gets in and just rips it out.
Ruling on the field was that he was down, but watch the ball come loose, and then the recovery here, which they have an immediate recovery, so they can rule on that. as the ball comes out.
Jaquez Smith, that was kind of a laissez-faire fumble recovery. Everybody's looking inside and kind of squirted it out. Yeah.
Look at the call.
After further review, the ball was out prior to the ball carrier being down. Therefore, it's Tennessee ball, first down at the 16-yard line.
That's Vandy's third fumble lost of the game, and 2 times inside Tennessee's 20-yard line. They only had 2 fumbles lost entering the game, and now this.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Miracle-Gro. Enter to win a trip to the Rose Bowl. For details, visit miraclegro.com/Rose Bowl. And Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind.
There's the torchbearer here at the University of Tennessee, adopted as the official symbol of the university all the way back in 1932. Jordan Matthews fumbled earlier tonight in what was a great scoring opportunity, and then moments ago Patton Robinette fumbled at the 17-yard line. As Vanderbilt is still sitting there on just 7 points as Rajon Neal gets to work here. A 10-7 lead for Tennessee. Turnovers have been the story of the night. Vanderbilt with 4, Tennessee with a couple. Real choppy game offensively. Some opportunities squandered by the Doors. This will be 3rd and about 2 yards here as Jared Morse with the tackle.
They've gone to this hurry up, and that seemed to help them a little bit. Josh Dobbs is doing a nice job of keeping this pace.
There's some pressure right up the middle, so Dobbs pulls it, reads it absolutely perfectly, and then gets upended that time by Stephen Clark. But that was a very good read by the freshman quarterback.
Great read. He sees it early too. It's a double A-gap blitz. They come up inside with the 2 linebackers. You're gonna see him coming up inside here, so he knows he's gonna pull that, and the edge is going to be clear.
At the end of that play, that was Stephen Clark who went up to tackle Josh Dobbs, and he is still down on the ground. As you see, he went right into the thighs of Dobbs, who was going airborne. So the medical staff is taking a look at Clark, and we will take a break. Now Stephen Clark was just able to get to his feet, now is being walked off the field. The starting cornerback for Vanderbilt, who just made that last tackle. This week on Countdown, it'll be Wes Welker with our Patriot Teddy Bruschi to discuss his time in New England. Tom Brady, of course, playing Peyton Manning, and Welker will chime in on the differences of playing with both. And then you want to finalize your roster, you have Fantasy Football Now. So Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. on ESPN, and then Fantasy Football Now 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Manning versus Brady. Brady's got 9 wins over Peyton Manning in that matchup.
There's 2 guys that you love to talk to. One is Wes Welker, and the other one is Dan Copeland, who was a center for both those quarterbacks. That would be interesting to see how they run their respective offenses.
Good hard running by Rajon Neal. Peyton Manning still comes back here every single summer and throws with the kids.
And this spring, he did a coach's clinic for the offensive staff and defensive staff here for the Tennessee Vols, and I had a chance to watch some of that today, and it was fascinating. It's fascinating to get into the mind of Peyton just because he's so detail-oriented. It's fascinating.
2nd and 7 now. Play action. Dobbs going to launch it downfield, and not able to corral it was Josh Smith. He had to wait on it with the coverage from Darius Sims, the freshman defensive back who's in for the injured Stephen Clark.
Yeah, he could put a little bit more on that thing. He had him. He got behind Sims. He had a chance. Sims does a nice, oh, that hit him in the face. He should have caught that ball. It was over Sims' hand, Tess.
Sims was only able to get his hand up there at the last moment, and it goes right into the face of Smith. Right off the face mask. So it'll be 3rd down. And that ball was overthrown as he took a head at the end there, and that will bring out the flag. As you can see, Jason Kroom was slow to get up, and Kenny Ladler came in on Kroom there. The star of the defensive backfield, Ladler, who had an interception earlier tonight.
And this is just a reaction, but that's going to be the right call. It's a bang-bang play. He's in the middle of it, and it's going to be the right call because he does go helmet to helmet.
Personal foul. Targeting, initiating contact above the shoulders of the defensive player. Number 1. The penalty is 15 yards.
And remember the way that this works here, as they will walk Ladler off the field. The targeting, the most talked about rule change in recent years with the new punitive twist this season. The rule hasn't changed. That's been around since '08, but the punishment has. So they will look to see if this qualifies under the new rule of targeting. And there's 2 forms of targeting. One would be making contact with the crown of the helmet, or what they've ruled here, and that's targeting and initiating contact to the head or neck area of a defenseless opponent. And that could be with the helmet, could be the forearm, the elbow, the shoulder. It doesn't have to be helmet to helmet. That phrase is antiquated, but in this case, they go with the latter.
Now keep in mind, if this happens, that's 3 of their starting 4 defensive backs out. Howell goes out with an injury. Stephen Clark just went out a little while ago, and now Kenny Ladler could be the 3rd of 4th.
So Wilbur Hackett, Ben Oldham up in the replay booth, will look over the punitive side of this only. The 15 yards stands.
Yeah, he's gone.
And they're walking him off. They confirmed it. So that's the end of the night for Kenny Ladler.
So 3 of your starting 4 defensive backs are out. Now, if you're on the other side, you're Tennessee, you have to be able to take advantage of that. You have to be able to take advantage of a depleted secondary.
So Ladler's gone with the targeting. He had an interception earlier tonight, among the lead leaguers in interceptions and forced fumbles. 2nd and 8. And did he stay in that time? They're going to say yes. And look at James Franklin saying he was juggling the ball. Pig Howard on the sideline. Franklin was right on top of it, and he's given an earful there.
We'll have a chance to see right here. Doesn't have it, doesn't have it, has it. Don't know if his foot was down.
And he quickly tried to snap as they're going to have another review.
He had it. I don't know if his foot was down when he had it.
Previous play under further. Vanderbilt is not charged a timeout.
Okay, let's watch. Just slow this thing down. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. Now he has it, and the foot was down. His toe was down. That head linesman was right there, and he was watching the same view that we just gave you.
That's Lane Thomas, part of Ken Williamson's crew there, that was right on top of it, as was James Franklin, quick to try to wave it off.
The difference is James Franklin has a vested interest in the catch.
Very much so. Boy, the boys upstairs have been busy tonight, haven't they?
Yes, they have, and they've done a great job.
Busy night for our guys down the production truck as well.
Oh, Ben's got his eyes peeled, and then, you know what? He can thank our camera crew because he's given them great looks all night. Now, there you go, is foot's in bounds. Stop right there. There's the, and right there. Now, let's see. No, he has control all the way through right there. So there's no more.
Oh, there's a move. There's a move afterwards. So keep that in mind. You can't just look at the foot. You have to look, does he have firm control for the entire play for it to be a catch?
Yeah, that little juggle after he had the foot down.
Remember, the player has to establish firm control and maintain possession throughout the entire play.
All the way through the catch, which is to say into the sideline. Watch there, no catch, no catch. Okay, catch, foot's in, that's good. Now watch.
Then that last movement as he shifts it to the right hand.
That's going to be interesting because he still had it against his chest. He just slid his hand down. Is it enough to overturn the ruling on the field, which is a complete pass?
They would need indisputable video evidence that says otherwise to reverse this to an incomplete pass, the way James Franklin initially felt it was, because he was the one saying he was juggling it. He did not maintain firm control of the ball.
The back was to James. James, all he saw was the back of the player. But you got to admire the fact that he wanted it to be incomplete.
And now Ken Williamson will get on the headsets with Ben Oldham and Wilbur Hackett upstairs on this SEC crew. You know, the SEC head of officials Steve Shaw does an outstanding job of coaching the guys through this situation, every piece of it. So not just the catch, but they'll go through and backtrack with down and distance and placement of the ball. Remember, the ruling on the field is a completed pass, but you saw the juggling there as we continued through that replay.
After further review, the receiver did not control the ball, therefore the pass is incomplete. Third down and 8 at the 45-yard line.
Longtime head of officials for the Pac-12 is our rules expert Dave Kataya. Dave, how did you see that?
Well, you clearly have the foot down on the play. However, it's not clear that he controls the ball. He's juggling. He's got to maintain secure control of the ball with the foot down. And I don't really think he does that. So I think it's a good reversal. The ball is moving. Again, clear control, no movement of the ball with the foot down.
3rd and 8. And that was knocked away by Darius Sims as he was trying to connect with Jonathan Johnson. Michael Pilardi is on to punt. As this bounces inside the 10. And good coverage on special teams for Tennessee. 4.5 minutes remaining in the third. Tennessee holding on to that 3-point margin. Joe Matt Maria with you back here in Knoxville as Tennessee's trying to avoid their 4th straight losing season. They haven't lost 4 straight since 1906. Tough year of playing 7 ranked teams this season. That's the first time in school history. So they enter tonight with an SEC mark of just 1-5 in Butch Jones's first year. 4-6 though overall. So they would love a win against their in-state in-conference rival here and close out the year with 2 wins to become bowl eligible. Vandy back on offense, and it's getting loud here at Neyland Stadium. And quickly they get it out to Jordan Matthews, who was tripped up at the 14-yard line by Justin Coleman. 2nd and 4. Seymour in the backfield with Carta Samuels. That never had a chance at all. Tennessee's defense fired up as Jaquez Smith and Marlon Walls were in the backfield and a tackle for loss.
Watch him on the outside. That's dead right in the start. And because of that, because of Smith, Walls is able to make the play. And it sets up this 3rd down. Keep in mind, Tennessee thought this game would come down to field position. That's why this right here is a big play.
3rd and 7. And Seymour can't keep his balance, as they will be punting away, and Tennessee will win this field position battle right now.
Butch Jones said one of the key things for this game, in his belief, was going to be the field position game. To win that, and that stop right there could help.
Taylor Hudson on his goal line. And Tennessee will be on the plus side as Young fields at that time. You can get close to all the action wherever you are with the new Sports Center app. Blazing fast scores, hottest news and highlights 24/7 via Twitter. You can download the new Sports Center app by calling *SC from your phone. You gonna do that with your little flip phone?
My flip? Hey,
where'd you put your flip phone there?
The flip phone's all the way down here. Let me tell you something.
1998 or so. How do you find an app? How do you find an app on this thing? What is that, the jitterbug?
First of all, I gotta go like this to see it, because I'm getting more blind by the day.
Everybody on our crew has been downloading this thing.
This is nice. I'm going to download it too.
All day long. What a day to follow the scores with. And this is a good hard run by Rajon Neal. It's been an interesting day of college football with what's been going on. You know, Oregon got not just upset but blown away by Arizona. And of course, this game here in the SEC opposite Baylor and Oklahoma State as the Bears find themselves in a hole, and Mizzou trying to stay in control of the SEC East against Ole Miss as we speak. That time a struggle or a loss of 1 yard as Baron Dixon and Hearing with the tackle. Washington and Oregon State still to come. That Pac-12 North just keeps going back and forth. Looked like Oregon was in the driver's seat. Stanford pulled the upset. Then Stanford loses to USC, and now Oregon loses today. That'll take you through the night.
Dean Carey with another 200-yard game.
Here's Rajon Neal with a blocker out in front, and then a good pad leverage to drive ahead. And it'll be a first down for Tennessee.
Tess, you called it pad leverage. I call it finish. And that's exactly what he did. He finished this run. Knew where he had to get to. Now watch him just lower his shoulders, like you said, get behind his pads, runs right through it. That's outstanding.
Remember, Kenny Ladler, Andre Howell, Stephen Clark not in the game in the defensive backfield for Vanderbilt.
Yes, my son just texted me and said, get a new phone. That's pathetic.
Should have listened to your children more often.
That's my
See
Marcus.
the night on Rajon Neal. Marlon Lane now in the backfield on 2nd and 7. They've been splitting up those duties. Final half minute here of the third quarter. Oh, look at Lane break free. And the ball came loose at the end there, and he quickly secured it right back. And he's right at that yellow line. Good defensive effort by Tennessee. Set up the punt situation where they took over at midfield. And now marching right down the field. And doing so with a quarterback who's passed for 25 yards as Mike Bajaki and the offensive coordinator has just been managing things with the freshman here tonight and a balanced running attack.
That was a heck of a hit by Andrew Williamson, free safety. Forced that fumble, but Marlon Lane had the wherewithal to be able to get it back, and they're short by about 3 inches.
There is Mike Bajakian, the glasses and the clean head closest to us, the former Division III star quarterback at Williams College.
Williams College.
Had a stretch of 22 games without a loss as part of that famous 0-0 scoreless tie to rival Amherst among New England college football lore. Yes. I went there. Ask me about Harvard Yale today as well. We'll get into that a bit too.
We'll talk about Lehigh Lafayette later.
Yeah, exactly.
The longest continuous.
That's right.
The longest continuous rivalry. Lafayette pounded Lehigh today.
Harvard got the best of the Bulldogs down in New Haven as well.
Yes, they did. That's the end of the third.
Boy, Tennessee wants this one badly. Remember, Vandy got the best of them last year, and Vandy has won 7 straight November games, but here are the Vols with a 3-point lead at the end of 3. Glad you're with us for ESPN College Football Prime Time here at Neyland Stadium as you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Maria Taylor with you here. Start of the fourth quarter, Tennessee with a 10-7 lead as turnovers have gotten the best of Vanderbilt tonight. 3rd and inches, and the quarterback sneak ahead with Dobbs will move the chains.
Tennessee's got to get 6 here. Both defenses have actually played pretty well here tonight. This is a big series right now for this Vanderbilt defense. Playing with 3 of their starting secondary out.
Dobbs to the outside. Penalty marker is down as Dobbs takes it in for a touchdown, but we will wait and see what the flag has to say about that. This could be coming back.
That's a hold test. But that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to get Dobbs on the edge because he has good speed.
And at the end of that play, Javon Marshall goes down, the lone remaining starter in the defensive backfield for Vanderbilt.
Block in the back, number 2 of the offense. The penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Remains first down.
That's Pig Howard.
So that'll come back. As they tend to, and there's Pig Howard block in the back. And then look at 31, Marshall chasing him down. Dobbs at the end of this. And he stayed down at the end of that play. I mean, this is a worst case scenario for Vanderbilt with injuries, with Andre Hal out of the game, Stephen Clark, the other cornerback, being injured, Kenny Ladler, the star and the productive safety, DQ'd from the game with the targeting call, and now Marshall, the lone remaining starter, slow to get up. There in the black jacket is Andre Howe. So they are down to backups across the board, as you see Clark, the other starting cornerback, who's been out.
Let's see, Tess. That's very significant if you could take advantage of it.
Which they haven't, Tennessee. They have not been passing the ball.
Exactly right. They have a grand total of how many yards? What, 25 yards or something?
Yeah, he's 8 of 15 for 25 yards passing is Joshua Dobbs. Obviously, defensive backfield's been coming up and playing run support against this Tennessee front.
And now with that penalty, it's 1st and 20, which is tough to come off of. That's John Seymour coming back out.
Enforcement of the penalty should have been in the previous spot. First.
Or going in, I should say.
And the training staff is quite busy. Of course, Seymour, the starting running back for Vanderbilt. So it is 1st and 20 after the penalty, and they will run it straight up the middle. And as you said, you know, it's an advantage if you take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
The injuries for Vanderbilt, but you run between the tackles into that front 7. So guys like Paris Head, who had an interception earlier, and Jamal McIntosh will get playing time, along with Torrin McGaster, who's at the other corner spot in place of Stephen Clark. On 2nd and 15, he struggled just to pick the ball up there, and Rajon Neal is going to be taken down for a loss. And this drive, all of a sudden, is going in the wrong direction. The original line of scrimmage was the 13-yard line, but Carl Butler is able to get that tackle for loss.
Yeah, right through his hands. Put his eyes downfield. Well, he did have the wherewithal to dump it off, but then they lost another 3rd and 24. Expect a screen here.
Design quarterback run on 3rd and 24.
All they wanted to do, Tess, is get into an area to be able to get a field goal. To just better their field position so they could kick it.
So they will send out Michael Palardy, who had one ricochet in earlier tonight, missed one straight on, and he just kept it to the left earlier. But he had a big moment earlier this year when he beat South Carolina as time expired.
Not many lefty kickers.
This attempt from 39. And they're going with a fake. And Palardy's going to throw back against the grain, and it is intercepted by Paris Head, his 2nd interception of the game. Now that was 4th and 19 when they go with the fake field goal. 4th and 19, and they put it in the hands of Palardy. He does it all. Kickoffs, punts, place kicks, and even this, interceptions. Another turnover in this game. Yet another.
Our impact player.
Oh, Millen, what have we done tonight when we named Michael Palardy an impact player? He's one of the best in the country, but something about tonight. I mean, in our editorial meeting this morning, we said we're finally doing it. You know, Mike Black, our spotter here, is also our special teams guru. He said, guys, you got to put Palardy as an impact player. Blackie, what happened here?
Look what he does. he blames it on the stats. That's what he does. That goes to show you, never trust a kicker. I'm sorry.
Mike Black, who is the all-time leading kicker in Boise State history and one of the top 5 kickers in the history of the Arena Football League, was hyping up Michael Palardy. They just ran the fake field goal. He threw an interception. He's had a challenging night, but he's having a great season. We'll never do it again, Miller. Never. As Vanderbilt gets back to work with Jordan Matthews, their All-America candidate who made SEC history earlier tonight. Just a 3-point lead for Tennessee as a chance was squandered moments ago with a fake field goal that went for an interception. As Paris Head had his 2nd interception of the night, playing in place of Andre Howell, who's out of the game with an injury.
This Vanderbilt offense, they've got to generate some continuity, and they've got to get some first downs.
Patton Robinette at quarterback as they've been platooning most of the night. Pressure was on, and he was hit as he was throwing by Marlon Walls. Check in with Wendy.
Tess, thank you. We check in on Baylor, Oklahoma State in a Taco Bell studio update. This game has just reached the half on ABC, and here's how it stands. Clint Shelf to Charlie Moore, the 2nd touchdown of the game for Oklahoma State, 14-3 at the half.
14-3 at the half. Glenn Spencer, the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma State, he's finally the one that figured out a way, apparently through one half, to slow down Baylor.
Yeah, have good players. That always helps.
Weather is cold there tonight, and that Baylor offense has been slowed down. As Patton Robinette with the run out to the 37-yard line. We've got a couple high-powered offenses headlining Monday Night Football. Kaepernick against RG3. Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's starts at 6:30. San Francisco and Washington at 8:25 Monday night.
Robinette again in at quarterback. Again, every time he's in, you have got to be able to account for his legs. That's it.
Tried to spin, and that time they kept contain out there as he was following Wesley Tate, but Sapp and Johnson were heading right down the line.
That was well done by Sapp. See how they strung it out? They made him go laterally, and in doing so, he gained no ground. Sapp comes in and finishes it off. That's a nice job there as John Jancic, their defensive coordinator. Got to be proud of his group right at that third down.
Jancic, of course, experience in the SEC with Georgia as the co-D coord, and then was with Butch Jones at Cincy, and now here at Tennessee. As Hudson punts away. 10:41 to play. Tennessee still holding on to that 3-point lead.
ESPN College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry. Truly unique designs that you won't find just anywhere. That's why he went to Jared. And Audi, Truth in Engineering.
Glad you're with us for Vandy and Tennessee here in Knoxville tonight. Joe Tessitore alongside Matt Millen and Maria Taylor as Butch Jones is trying to secure his 5th win of the year. Vandy is 6-4. Bowl eligible again is Vandy. 3 straight years now that they have done that. Marlon Lane with the run. FaceTime profile brought to you by Edward Jones as we take a closer look at Butch Jones, who, if you spend some time with Matt Millen, you realize why he's been so successful where he's going.
Well, let me just say this to all you Tennessee Volunteer fans out there. He's only been a head coach 6 years. This is his 7th year. You will win. This guy has got it. He understands the big picture. He understands the structure, and he gets the details.
And he also has what is currently the #2 recruiting class in the country for signing day come 2014, according to ESPN's Recruiting Nation. Perhaps we'll talk about that a little later on. 2nd and 5. Dobbs couldn't get past the initial surge of defenders with Chase Garnham and Kyle Westman. Butch Jones, with this Tennessee brand and facilities and tradition here, has a group of potential incoming freshmen that includes 11 ESPN 300 players, the best of the very best. He's got verbal commitments from Todd Kelly Jr., who's one of the best defensive back prospects, Jalen Hurd, a top running back. He's getting outside linebacker commitment from Dylan Bates, the son of Bill Bates. 3rd and 5.
Don't panic. Make a throw.
Now, Happy Feet has brought him all the way back inside the 5-yard line. So sometimes that's what freshmen do. You're saying don't panic, make a throw. All the way back at the 2-yard line, Joshua Dobbs is taken down by Stephen Weatherly.
Watch Weatherly come off the edge, and they're going to bring 2 others. So it's and a green dog. So they have 6 guys active. He does a couple of, I don't know what he's doing in there, but it's -16 and a forced punt. Nice
and look
job.
Who's back out on the field.
Yeah, and a nice job by that Vanderbilt defense, because not talked about while you saw the pressure, there was coverage down the field.
So Pilardi now has to punt just a foot inside of the back of the end zone there. And he gets off a very poor punt that'll go out at about the 29-yard line. Did we curse this guy or what?
Black is black.
We made a specialist the impact player earlier tonight. He had a missed field goal, 1 off the post. He threw an interception, and now this punt that only goes for 27 yards. And this guy's had such a good season. He's been reliable. In fact, he had the game-winning field goal to beat South Carolina earlier this year. But there's just something in the air tonight with Michael Pilardi. This is the one that he made off the post, and then they called for a fake on 4th and 19. He throws across the field. That was picked off.
That was a poor decision on the coach's side. 4th and 19, I don't get it.
So here's Vanderbilt with great field position, as Curtis Samuels was pressured that time by Marlon Walls. 8:13 to play, and Vanderbilt is set up at the 29-yard line here, trailing only by 3, and they have a good place kicker themselves in Kerry Spear.
So Tennessee loses the field position battle, and it puts Vanderbilt in a great position. Now they've got to be able to take advantage of it. They've got to get 6 out of this, at the least 3 to tie. Flag.
Delay of game, offense, number 6, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down. Correction, 2nd down.
It'll be 2nd and 15. Go with a little screen to Jordan Matthews as he tunneled back, and Matthews continues to be the main target. 10 catches tonight for Jordan Matthews for 91 yards. He came in only needing 4 catches to become the SEC's all-time leader.
Yeah, but they really haven't thrown him down the field.
Everything's been in the quick game. Yeah,
yes.
The short game. Played a big part in the 4th quarter last year in the win against Tennessee. Had a 71-yard touchdown catch in the 4th quarter. 3rd and 6 here. And that is incomplete, as he was looking at Wesley Tate, but A.J. Johnson was there defensively.
Good coverage. He finds Tate back underneath. That's well done by A.J. Johnson.
And this will lead to Kerry Spear, the senior kicker for Vanderbilt, with a 42-yard attempt to try to tie this game. Good rotation, good trajectory, but not good distance. He didn't get the leg into it.
That's a big-time defensive stand by the Tennessee Vols.
Just didn't muscle through the ball as it comes up short. And Tennessee is still in front. Little wind in the air here as you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Maybe that affected Kerry Spears' missed field goal moments ago. A reminder that tradition has found a new home. The most storied conference has a new network. The SEC Network will launch in August 2014. Folks, you can go to GetSECNetwork.com to find out all the information. Here's what I can tell you. If you're like us and you love the SEC football scene, you want to get it. So go to GetSECNetwork.com. As Tennessee is back on offense, they've been playing small ball, depending on the turnovers and some miscues all night long for a 10-7 lead.
But Tess, they've been playing within themselves.
Right, manage themselves well.
Exactly right. Remember at halftime, he said you wanted to manage, you wanted Josh Dobbs to just manage the game, and that's what they've done with him.
Not much has been asked of Dobbs. 16 yards passing. He has thrown 2 interceptions, and moments ago looked like a freshman when he was sacked for a 16-yard loss.
Timeout by Butch Jones on the sideline.
Timeout, Tennessee.
Be the first timeout used by either team tonight. BCS standings are brought to you by Discover Card. You know, this is one of those weekends that sometimes you cringe at the fact that maybe we don't have as good a conference slate as we could have when Alabama and Florida State and some of the others play games like you see there. But then you have Oregon. They took it on the chin, and Baylor is struggling right now against Oklahoma State.
There's another one going on right there.
That's a significant game because of the race for the SEC East.
Yeah, that Missouri team has done nothing but gotten better and better. And the guy who I think has had a phenomenal year of coaching is Dave Steckel. Their
that defense, that's the big difference on that team with Michael Sam.
Extremely well. That Ole Miss offense is explosive, but they've got it look like 24-10 there. They're in pretty good shape.
2nd and 5 after the timeout. Here's Neal again as they tried to seal that edge, and they did, and Neal runs right off of it.
Test, that is a misdirection play in 2 different ways. It's a counter OT action. They try to run a counter, and then they have them going the other way. Watch, they're going to start this way and then come all the way back. And what that does is it gets your linebackers to flow one way, and then once you come around the other side, you're able to punch it through for a first down.
Chase Garnham is now down and injured, so that gives us a chance to check in with Wendy Nix.
Joe Tess, thank you. We check in with the aforementioned Missouri team facing Ole Miss. It's 17-10 here, but there's more where that came from. Henry Josie, the 11-yard run, now 24-10, late in the 3rd quarter. Sean Mannion, 33 touchdowns this season, leading the FBS. His team set to host Washington. Coming up right here on ESPN2 after our game.
Thank you, Wendy. Henry Josie, the running back for Missouri, one of the great comeback stories in college football, as he had as devastating a knee injury as anybody has suffered in the sport. So good to see him back.
That's Franklin's first game back, and they have 3 outstanding running backs at Missouri.
First down for Tennessee. Garnham was injured for Vanderbilt. This defense has really been affected with injuries throughout this game. And here goes Rajon Neal, now just beyond midfield, tackled by Walker May.
Now, I've got to tell you, James Stone inside, Zach Fulton, Alex Bullard, Richardson, and Juwan James. That offensive line, we talked about them at the start of the game. It was on their shoulders, and right now, they're winning the battle.
4 seniors and a junior who may go pro in Tiny Richardson.
Should stay in.
They've run that same play that you just detailed for us, and this time Neal will be about a yard short of the first down stick. Garnham, by the way, is back in the game. Rajon Neal. He's had a nice senior season. He's gone over 2,000 yards in his career, 14th player in school history to do that. By the way, in college football today, we had a 2,000-yard runner for this season in Andre Williams from Boston College.
Andre Williams at BC's had a phenomenal year.
3rd down and 1 now.
They're loading the box. Let's see what he does.
They got 8 men within 2 yards of that line of scrimmage, and there's a 9th that just walked in, and it worked. So they walked that defensive back in. They came after him, and Carl Butler was able to contain him. It'll be 4th down.
And so they have taken everything off of Josh Dobbs in the ability to make the throw.
Well, Michael Pilardi comes on to punt again. Remember, he struggled last time out from his end zone. This is a Ray Guy semifinalist, top 10 in the country, leads the FBS inside the 20, but tonight it's been a little choppy for Pilardi. Gets off a good one here, does the lefty. And the fair catch inside the 10 at about the 8. So Pilardi does his job that time. 4:16 to play. Vandy trails by 3. Vanderbilt been turning the ball over tonight. Still only trailing by 3, but interception and then 3 fumbles lost, Matt.
Yeah, they've done everything wrong up to this point, and all that doesn't mean anything right now, Tess. They've got 4:16, and they have the opportunity to right all those wrongs.
The missed field goal by Spear. 2 of those fumbles were inside the Tennessee 20-yard line. But now, as you said, here it is right in front of you. 4:16 to play. Only trailing by 3. And Vandy ball. Jordan Matthews, their best offensive producer, will start things off on this drive.
They've been going to that all night long. At one point, they're going to fake that and have him go upfield. Every play needs a companion play to it.
John Jancic, veteran defensive coordinator. See what he dials up here against Austin Parta Samuels. Starting quarterback has been platooning with Patton Robinette. 2nd and 2. They run option reverse with Matthews, and he stumbles down for a loss. They got a little cute there on 2nd and 2.
Remember, going back, the Tennessee staff thought that they had 37 trick plays that they had run, and here comes one. It's the reverse to Matthews, and the turf monster got him, sets up this 3rd and long.
So from 2nd and 2 to 3rd and 7.
They spread them out.
And it'll be a 1st down as he goes to Jonathan Kraus. And they're happy to have the senior back. Missed the last couple weeks, but he's been a nice compliment opposite Jordan Matthews. As he's had career highs, single-season career highs this year before missing some time recently. Coming up on 2.5 minutes to play. And a 1st down for Vanderbilt. The ball inching towards the 30-yard line. Tate is wrapped up at the 25.
Well done by A.J. Johnson. He had the coverage. He got out there first. Didn't make the tackle, but he made the play. Because he slowed him up, the guys were able to come inside out. This is a nice job of his defense of redirecting. Watch A.J. Johnson. See him coming. It's right here. He comes inside out and slows him down. And look, here comes the posse from inside out. Really well done, O'Brien and Walls. And set up the 2nd and about 14 or 15. 15.
And is it loud here at Neyland Stadium? 2nd and 15. Carter Samuels gets it complete again for a 1st down to Kraus. He's done a really good job of settling down right in the middle, and there is a flag down now at the 40-yard line that came in late there.
All Kraus is doing is letting that 3-receiver set. They're letting those 2 receivers clear, and he comes back inside on a single defender, and he's been beating him.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. Penalty is 15 yards from into the run. Automatic 1st down.
So the last thing Tennessee wants to see is free yardage for Vanderbilt here, especially considering that their senior kicker, Kerry Spear.
Watch this. They're going to run this one off and this one off. And he has the inside defender at a disadvantage. You don't defend a guy straight up. And there's the face mask at the end. If you defend a guy straight up, you give him a 2-way go. You have to take something away and then play to that.
See that green line there? That's the range of Spear. Threw it to the outside of Kraus. Remember, Spear missed from 42 earlier, but his career long is 54. And pregame, he was hitting from 52 yards in warm-ups into a little bit of a breeze, the direction that they're going in now. And here's Jordan Matthews. Oh, and did he give a little at the end of that against McNeil?
Watch Kraus, 17. He's the key. He gets the nice block, and what a great finish by Matthews.
That's a senior that wants it. Just asking for a little more. Here's the measurement. He's going to be about a half yard short.
Krause has come up big here down the stretch. 2 big catches, 1 on the big 3rd down. And then the block to be able to get Matthews out on the edge to set up this 2nd and short.
Matthews has 12 catches on the night. Krause opened the door a bit for him there. And it'll be 3rd and less than 1.
The difference in this game is Austin Carter-Samuels has been able to throw the ball effectively. Josh Dobbs is not.
They are within the field goal range of Kerry Spear, although he did miss earlier in this half from 42. 3rd and inches. I don't think he got there at all as Tate was taken down by Jaquez Smith.
He's close.
Depend on the mark, but he was fighting his way back. And they gave him a generous mark right there.
Jaquez Smith has played himself a pretty good game here tonight.
That's a timeout used by Vanderbilt. As they are going to measure here.
There's Jaquez Smith on the top side. Nobody blocks him, and he just comes off hard.
See that yellow line, unofficial, but that yellow line he was short of. And he's well short here.
Well, here we
he
go.
is well short.
Lost about probably a foot on that one. So now you have, is it 4th down and 1.
And you see that wind and going in the direction where Spears struggled earlier. Remember, that would be a 51-yard attempt from where they are right now. He missed from 42 earlier. So here's Vanderbilt on 4th and 1. 48 seconds to play. Game on the line. Quarterback sneak, and Carter-Samuels tries to put that shoulder ahead.
I don't know, Tess. Looking at where the head linesman's
Boy, that head linesman's right foot is definitely short of that yellow line, the unofficial yellow line as you look at him there. I don't think he's got it based on that.
I don't know.
This could be a turnover on downs that could finish off the game and a Tennessee victory depending on the chains here. So here we go.
That head linesman came running in, and Tess, that's going to be short.
It is short by about 2 inches. And Butch Jones trying to control the troops as James Franklin can't believe they didn't get it. Let's look at it one more time. Watch Carter-Samuels on the quarterback sneak.
Wow.
I'll tell you, on first glance there, just looking at our unofficial yellow line, he appears to be past the yellow line, but you saw where the mark was.
Now,
they're going to review this, Matt. Remember, they can review the spot of a ball. Now, it's tough with all the defenders in there to get an accurate spot.
Exactly.
When you review it, what you have to be able to say is, do we have the video evidence that tells us where we should be spotting the ball? You be the judge, and you ask yourself, is there video evidence that says the ball should be spotted forward of that yellow line? On first glance there, it appears that would be the case. But as you watch, The linesmen come in at the bottom of your screen.
There he is.
He takes that right foot and he plants it down there. So do they have the video evidence that says otherwise?
I mean, when we put our lines in, and of course they're not official, and we're still, and see, that looks like he's over.
It does appear, but it's hard to see where the ball is. What you can see is where his helmet is, where his shoulder is, but you can't make the assumption as to where he's holding the ball. So what they're looking at here, Matt, is the linesman running in from the bottom of your screen to see where he made the mark and then judge based on the video evidence if that's the correct mark. Here's Wilbur Hackett, and Ben Oldham is flanking him up there in the replay booth. As Ken Williamson, who heads up this crew, is going to find out where Paul Patrisco, the line judge, marked it.
After further review, the runner reached the 33-yard line, which is enough for a first down.
Oh, it is a first down. Don't start celebrating just yet. So it is a first down for Vanderbilt after this crew took the time to look at the video evidence and they respot it. And it is a first down, a fourth down conversion for Vanderbilt. 46 seconds remain, 2 timeouts, first down, Vandy. They only bring 4 against Carter Samuels. He's going to take a shot, and coming up with it inside the 10-yard line is Mr. Reliable Jordan Matthews.
I'm not sure, but this may be his first downfield catch all night, other than those short screen things. And it's a clutch catch.
First and goal. Clock running under half a minute. Here's Carter Samuels. And he's taken down at the 5-yard line. Remember, they have 2 timeouts remaining.
Timeout, Vanderbilt.
Jordan Matthews with an exceptional evening. 13 catches for 133 yards at 13 catches, a career high, and a night when he became the SEC's all-time leader in receptions. Tennessee fans thought the game was over. They said we were celebrating. They thought they stopped them on 4th and inches. Then they respotted the ball. Here's the drive for Vanderbilt. It has gone 11 plays, lasting 87 yards. They started on their own 8, and Jonathan Krause played a big role in then making that block there for Jordan Matthews.
And then the 4th down and the spot. I thought that coverage right there was a mistake. They went with a cover 2. You've got to take their biggest weapon away in these situations. Make somebody else beat you. Don't let Matthews beat you.
1 timeout remaining. 2nd and goal. 21 seconds left in regulation. And Patton Robinette is now in at quarterback. Tried the jump pass and instead runs it in. He faked the jump pass and then ran it in. An improbable comeback that took a review on 4th and inches, and Vandy has the lead.
That was a great call. John Donovan, their offensive coordinator, comes up with a great call. That fake pump stopped everyone from the Tennessee defense in their tracks and allowed an easy score.
They thought they had it won. Everybody but Butch Jones, who calmed them all down. And then the spot was reviewed, and the drive stayed alive.
Watch the defenders right here. Up. It just froze him, and Robinette took it in. That's a great call, Tess.
All night long, they platoon quarterbacks, and in the end, Robinette on the ground with the go-ahead touchdown.
That's 92 yards in 12 plays with Robinette taking it in at the end. That's in 4 minutes. That's a big-time drive.
Reminder, more college football will be coming your way with Washington and Oregon State. Vanderbilt 14-10 with 16 seconds remaining. They started on their own 8-yard line. They went 12 plays. They needed the boys upstairs to respot the ball and give them a fresh set of downs. Then they delivered. Look at the celebration on the sidelines. Tennessee needs a little magic in those smoky gray uniforms. As Devrin Young will take it out from the end zone. And he was met hard at the 15-yard line by Jamal McIntosh. So 14 seconds remain for Tennessee. And Joshua Dobbs.
I would rush 2 and drop 9 just to keep Josh Dobbs in the pocket. That's it.
And if there's anything we've learned in this sport this fall, is if it's a desperation heave, just knock it down. Time and time again, defensive backs going for glory, popping that ball in the air and having Hail Marys and those prayers be answered. Oh, and there's a completion on a strike with 9 seconds remaining out to the 29-yard line to Jacob Carter.
They need 6. They can't. 3 doesn't do anything for them, so they've got.
They need to be in position to launch a Hail Mary.
Yeah, they need.
First and 10.
They could get 1 more of those and then take a shot.
And there is a shot, and they're out to midfield.
Now it's it.
And they can use that timeout as Pig Howard corrals it there. And they will take a timeout. And the ball's across midfield, so they will have a chance here to put it up for grabs and see if a miracle finish will be theirs. Vandy hasn't won here in Knoxville since 2005. There's Olson, Pig Howard. And remember that Vandy secondary is without starters. Andre Hall is out. Clark was injured. Their safety Ladler, their star safety, DQ'd with a targeting. So here it is, folks. It's happened plenty this fall. Can it happen for Tennessee? Dobbs gonna crank it up and let it fly.
Short.
Incomplete. And Vanderbilt has back-to-back wins over Tennessee. First time since 1926. They've won 8 straight November games. And Tennessee is going to have its 4th straight losing season. It took a last-minute drive by Vandy. 14-10 final. Stay tuned for ESPN College Football Finale. Washington versus Oregon State. Let's get you out to Corvallis with Mark Jones as we say goodnight from Neyland Stadium here in Knoxville.